It appears that we have reached the end of the regular season as of this coming Friday. That's hard to believe, isn't it?
You know, it feels like almost yesterday we were talking about Halloween, and Halloween came.
Yeah, that was like this far-off thing, and all of a sudden it's already over. Life is that way, unfortunately.
Halloween came and Halloween went, and Sharyland is now the district champion.
Yeah, man, all they got to do is beat Vela at home this week. They took them out 28-14. Now, there's a lot of ways to talk about the game. It was a Thursday night. We were both there. Everybody was there.
Yeah,
it was a great crowd.
It really was. Everybody was there.
You know, I think that I was surprised at how good the Sharyland defense was. Everybody talked about the North defense, and as you will attest, they played a very fine game. But the Sharyland defense limited North to less than 130 yards. Man, I never would have predicted it.
Neither would I, and just because how good Matt Whitesides is. But, you know, Rigo Garza, he played lights out.
And I hadn't seen him,
lights out.
His name, and he was penetrating like crazy. He's a big, tall kid, 55. He made 8 plays. I couldn't believe it. He really was one of the players that impressed me the most. That defense is so fast. Whoop, there they went. They were hitting Whitesides 2 and 3 yards in the backfield. He never had a chance.
He didn't. You know, Coach Adame, he was explaining to us how they had that chip on their shoulder all weekend because it was all about.
Oh yeah, we can play too.
Yeah, it was all about North's defense, and look who also plays defense.
Oh my! I'll tell you what the biggest play of the game was to me. There were a couple. One was, and I've said this already in print, Landes's tackle on Whitesides. Okay. North had risen from the dead once at the end of the first half, and it was an amazing thing. Remember, 1 first down, and they were down 14-0. All of a sudden, it's 14-14. You almost had to blink. Anyway, so Whitesides then breaks one in the third quarter, I believe it was, and Landes was already blocked, okay? He reached out, you saw, he reached out and tackled him by the shoestring, as they used to say. And to me, that was huge because Whitesides was gone 84 yards for a touchdown, and that would have changed the complexion of the game. I think Sharyland just played a little better, I feel, overall.
Yeah, Edinburgh North struggled on offense. I mean, like we said, 120 yards. I mean, you're not going to get anywhere against a team like Sharyland with that kind of offensive production.
It would have helped.
Just no way around it.
It would have helped to have had Adrian Alvarez, who did not play. It would have also helped to have Matt Ramirez on offense. He played the whole game on defense, and you know he was cold, man. Yeah. He had 14 tackles, an interception, a defense. That guy is an amazing player. So they were a little bit hamstrung, but even so, I feel like Sharyland, fair and square, took it to them. They were able to get 313 off the North defense, which is their highest yield for the year.
Yeah, no, it was a good game. I mean, there was nothing else you could say. Probably my
Harris got a punt return.
Yeah, you know, another punt return. That team seems to be returning balls like it's nobody's business.
I'll tell you why I think Sharyland won. We've already talked about those particulars. They were just a little sharper, and I say that. And they had 4 turnovers. So I don't mean sharp execution-wise. They were more aggressive, more energetic. I think I'm not going to say they wanted it more because the team that loses, does that mean they didn't want it? No.
Yeah, no.
But I think that they took it a little more. They took it to them a little more.
Yeah, and it's, like I said, going back, it's that chip that, that they talked about. And that's what it came down to. I mean,
hey, you know what?
Nobody expected that defense to come out. I mean, after all the media attention that people that gave Sharyland, it wasn't about their defense, and their defense showed up.
Oh man,
kudos to them.
Yeah, it was great. It was incredible. Seriously. I think Landes is a special athlete. I'll tell you, he's the guy who ran the missed field goal back 109 yards. Remember? Yeah. He plays in like a slightly higher gear. He's more fluid as a runner. Like when his feet hit the ground, they don't clump. He just kind of glides, and he's fast, and he's pretty strong. He's not the world's biggest kid, but he's pretty strong. Very impressed with him.
He was really good.
I was impressed with Diego, man. Yeah. Diego was tough in the first half.
Yeah, no, he made some plays, and then you get another quarterback who's French.
I know, he had Lance's awesome French legs, and it's my game.
It's not cheating, obviously, but you're just like, man, that's a really good upper hand to have.
Yeah, and
there's no way around it.
If Diego hadn't had his troubles at the end of the first half, I'm not sure Madden would have played that role. He did catch a 36-yard ball in the first half. I thought Diego did a great job of running away from pressure, okay? Because North was going to rush the quarterback and get in the holes quick. But he just ran away from it. I mean, 3 or 4 or 5 times he just scrambled across, and not just scrambled and got nothing. He threw and made completions. They had 16 pass completions in the first half, which, as we talked about, that led the North defense to get tired. So by the time the third and fourth quarters came, that group was gassed. You could tell. They were still playing well, but they were gassed.
You can't have your defense out that long.
Too long. They ran twice as many plays almost. Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of having their defense out too long on the field, I think that's what happened to Mac High.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. They lost, obviously, in double overtime.
50-48. Fourth time in 6 years it's been that crazy.
Shootout. I mean, you got to expect that with those two teams when they play each other. I mean,
the McAllen magic. That's what it is.
It's I was at a loss of words when I saw it go down. I mean, yeah. I mean, people.
Memorial led what? No, that was last week. They led 7 times and lost. They did it go back and forth a few times?
Yeah. No, it was definitely back and forth, but Memorial would eat the clock. They would run, they would run, they would run. And, man, they like to run. Obviously with Trevor Spates, but Mackay would score in 3 plays. And here comes the defense again.
Moya, right? Had some big catches.
Yeah,
63 and 40 or something such. Yeah, he's good. They got a lot of receivers.
Yeah, no, Mackay, they're playmakers. All of a sudden,
Justin Gonzalez pretty good, right?
Yeah, all of a sudden,
good.
It's like that, and you've scored in 3 plays in less than a minute.
So what does that do? It gives you 7 points, but
your defense
right back out again. You're like, all right already.
I talked to Coach Brewer, and he was just like, "We're not out there to run clock or manage games. We're out there to score."
Right? Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Right? No matter how you can score. Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, it's up to the defense to get that turnover, to get that stop, and the defense wasn't doing that.
I'll tell you what you find with teams that go 2-3 rounds. They have some guys just waiting on the bench to come in and play that fourth quarter or that third quarter, let the other guy rest. You don't get a lot of depth. You don't get a lot of endurance. You will probably wear down the fourth quarter. Now, we were talking before we came on, man, in towns with 4 teams, something like depth is a luxury that we don't have anymore.
And it's not going to happen anymore. I mean, Sherryland's going to 2 schools. Donna's going to 2 schools. I mean,
the dynasties will probably be of a different type. In other words, there were times when, the Edinburgh High team of '83 was honored at the game, the Lincoln game, and I wish I'd have seen it. Those guys had a ton of players that could play. They had like 50 or 60 guys, and a lot of them got on the field because that was the only team in town. Yeah. Like UT in the 70s, they had like 120 scholarship athletes. Rice had 4.
I would love to see, quote unquote all-star team of the city of the 4 high schools. That would be awesome, but
we'd have great linebackers and great running backs.
Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. So let's just move on.
Let's do a tournament in December. Okay, we'll play Harlingen. McAllen will play Brown. Like an 8-team tournament.
Now we're just dreaming.
The Valley Championship brought to you by Your Valley Voice.
So we've got 2 games on tap that really mean something, and I would say 2.5, but I mean, as much as I hate to say it, but I think Sherryland is just gonna run over Vela.
Vela at full strength would be a good match. In other words, they would be able to compete hard with Sherryland because that team was playing very well before it just started looking like the walking wounded.
You get injured, and that's just the way some seasons go for people.
I expect the SaberCats, indeed. I expect the SaberCats to come out and play a whale of a game, at least early on, because that's a team and a program that's building pride for the future.
Exactly.
You watch next year, that's going to be some kind of team. Man.
So we've got Economedes.
Economedes can make it. Win and in.
Win and in, and I really do think they can win. I mean, granted, Palmview just picked up their first win.
Hey, they did. Good. That means that they will be a little bit satisfied because they didn't want to go 0-10.
Exactly.
Now, if that was their last game, and if you either you win or you go 0-10, that would be worse. So no, that's very good. Plus, they're not a very good team. No offense, but
Yeah. So it's it's looking like Sherry, North Donna, and Economedes.
Economedes.
Everything goes well.
That's the way it'll end up.
But
go ahead.
They can't have that same performance they had last week.
I was about to say they
4 turnovers,
12 penalties.
That's
185 yards. They need to come play a good ball game like they did against Lincoln. Okay, they played well against Lincoln. In other words, beat the teams you have to beat, and you will make the playoffs. But they need to get fresher and they need to get better and sharper because Alexander's going to be tough, man. That playoff game.
I mean, I was about to say, getting into the second season of the year. I mean, turnovers are just going to kill you.
You die on the vine quickly,
There's just no other way around it.
I'm looking for Luis Alvarez to have a big game, okay? Because he's a senior and he leads that team, and if he makes some throws, and they've got some receivers. I want to see them hit Teo Adiola more because he started out with like 12 catches the first half of the season. They haven't gotten him the ball as much, and the thing is, he's a pretty good athlete. I'd like to see him with the ball in his hands a little bit. Also a good punter. Yeah, he's going to be playing basketball too, which more on that later. Not basketball.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good. I mean, it's at home, homecoming. What else could you ask for?
Yeah, they should win that game.
That's pretty much on paper. That's pretty good.
And that would be 2 years in a row for the Jags. They've had their troubles this year, but really they're 6-3. That's a pretty solid season. Man, I feel like they've played well. Sure. They've always played well enough to win. Now they got to crank it up to the next level and get an upset in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think for the following season, I think you get into the playoffs again. That's good. I think, but you should look into beating Donna, beating Sherryland, beating Edinburgh North.
Take the next step.
Exactly.
Making the playoffs is good, but don't always be the 4th team. So we'll see what they do. Hey, in 3 years, Gabe has made it twice, and so that's a pretty good track record so far.
That really is a good track record. And moving across to McAllen.
Let's go McAllen first, then we'll talk about the game of the week.
Okay.
McAllen and PSJA Memorial.
Okay. Right? Oh, I was going to talk about Memorial and.
That's the game of the week?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do what he wants. It's a great game, and the winner's in and the loser's out, and it couldn't be any better.
That's
It's
all
exciting.
Yeah, no. That's what else can you ask for? I mean, both teams are up for it, and both teams are going to fight. It's going to be a shootout.
Yeah,
I can tell you this right now. After watching Trevor last week and watching the whole Mustang crew, I mean, their offense is clicking.
54 points a game the last 5 games.
They're putting up yards, and PSJ's defense better be ready to show up.
Yeah.
Because if they can't stop Trevor Spates,
I mean, they're going to get beat like 52 to 17 or something.
Yeah, and it's going to be bad. I mean, look at Memorial. Everybody's been rooting about. Mackay. Everybody's been rooting about Mackay's defense, and Trevor Spates came out and ran him.
That's
There's
right.
just no way around it.
Yeah, and PSJ's defense is no better than McAllen's, I wouldn't say. Although I like the team. I like PSJ. Remember, we were on their bandwagon early when they started with a great start.
Because they're a good team.
Right, they were 1-9, right?
And then
we thought,
injuries
So it's
plagued
a
them a little
quarterback,
bit. Yeah, so, I mean,
they've come back into the race on the behalf of their defense, though, I would say. So, if you're up against a great offense, then in this district, the best defense you could throw at them, if not McAllen, is PSJA.
I would say so.
I like those
I would
kids.
say so, yes.
It's one of the biggest defenses in the valley. You look at their front four, man. Quiroz at an end and Mendoza at the other end, and that huge guy, Ray Wahardo, the dancing bear of the Ukraine, in the middle. They have a great front line.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They make a lot of tackles.
I expect this to be a high-scoring game. I really do see PSJ keeping up with Memorial, and for Memorial, it's going to come down, and PSJ, but Memorial more with the last 2 weeks. They've come down to the shootout, and they've even been finishing in overtime. You know
Incredible, man. Incredible. The cardiac kids, man, like the 1980 Cleveland Browns.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be a great game. Can't wait.
How are they going to deal with the kid? That's the thing. The defensive coaches are on the spot this week, and I don't mean in a negative way. I mean it's a challenge you look for, at the end of a year. What are they going to do? Are they going to commit to try to stop him early? Are they going to play a prevent type defense? Because see, with a special back like that, you have to make arrangements. I don't know if they can do what Sherryland did to Whiteside.
Exactly.
Or for that matter, what Harlingen did to Jaden Taylor last week at Harlingen South. They allowed him 62 yards. It's a matter of hitting them early in the backfield before they get a chance to go. And you know the kid, man, he is so quick at seeing the hole. He makes it happen. It's hard to penetrate. He's gone. Mr. Fast.
Yeah, and he just disappears.
He's
There's
the
just no way
best.
around it. And like you were saying, talking about gliding earlier, I mean,
there ain't but about 4 or 5 guys in the valley that
he
can do it.
runs
Right.
like.
You know who else does it?
It's nice to see him run.
It's very nice. It's a very pleasing thing. Aesthetically, the kid is a wonderful thing. That kid at Roma, and you think I'm crazy, okay? I look at Roma, 2,000 yards, 2 years in a row now. And he is a very tiny miniature version of Spates. I'm telling you, he doesn't have the elan and the grace and the athletic ability, but he's really quick. You ever watch like a little water bug go? Or like
Sure.
when you turn on the light and the bug goes, bah, 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 bah. I mean, he is so fast. And he's a tough little dude, man, I'm telling you. Him and the kid would be a great backfield.
Yeah.
Although, then we need a big fullback. We need one of those kids from McAllen, like that Rincones, 32. He'll block you.
Just pop somebody, make a bigger hole.
Yeah. So I think Memorial, the credit obviously deserves to go to the kid and to the other kid, 28, because he's running well too. But the line, I think, has really come on. Yeah, Alonso. I think the line has really come on for those guys. You know, I mean, Velasco I knew about. He's a known quantity. But some of those other kids, they followed in suit of a bunch of good Memorial lines. They, put it this way, Pete, the first 4 games of the season, they averaged 13 points per game. You got to be kidding. Remember, we're like, what's wrong with Memorial?
Yeah.
And but guess now they're averaging 54 of the last 5. So to me, I hang that to an extent on the line because obviously
and their passing game's opening up too, and which helps obviously.
DJ.
I saw him just leap over a kid, barely even jumped, and it was just like, give me the ball, I'm out of here.
Yeah, as he learns to play football more because he's a basketball player. There's no telling how good he can be. Exactly. All right, and so sophomore quarterback, junior running back. That's interesting for next year. I like Memorial's defense, though. It's not a bad group. We're talking about Mackay and PSJA. Memorial is, the problem is they play such a pace that their defensive guys are going to give up some touchdowns. But I feel like with Marriott, Stites, and Rios, those are good linebackers, very good linebackers. Lucas Rios is cold. He's a junior.
Yeah.
No, I like that group. So maybe it'll be a shootout.
I see a shootout happening.
Maybe it'll be 20-14 or something. See, I went to Bird Bowl. It was 21-14. Saraland North, 28-14. I like those kind of football games. Now you are more of an offensive guy. I really don't like to see those 52-50 games because they just make me nervous. I mean, it's like, it's too much writing, man.
Well, not only that, and it's coming down to the last play. Man.
That's the way. Well, yeah, that's what's exciting. football is like that now. Most teams play the spread. Most teams play a pace game.
Yeah.
Memorial is the pace team, but they don't do it with the spread. They do it with the best running back that we've had in some time.
So
Yeah. How good? We're not even going to discuss yet because we ain't made it to the playoffs yet.
I'm excited, man. This is gonna be a nice week 10.
So
We're
Memorial, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're still here. Memorial PSJ, the winner of that game will play what? Harlingen. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
In the big bracket. Memorial may get a rematch with them. PSJ might get them. They used to play them back in the day. When you were a young lad, they played 3 years in a row. Remember that? PSJ and Harlingen? So right now, McAllen, if they win district. It looks like they're going to be playing, I think it's Rivetta, believe it or not. I think it's going to be Rivetta.
Yeah, I would see that also.
So they're going to have a nice prohibitive edge in their bi-district game, which is, they've kind of earned it. It doesn't always work out that way, but they earned it. Now, Edinburgh North looking at Eagle Pass. And Eagle Pass beat Del Rio, but neither one of those teams, I've told you, is very good. And so bottom line is that should be a game where you win like 38-10 or something. I promise you. That even if they get their kids back or if they don't get their kids back, they should still win that game. Economedes, Alexander, that's a little tougher. The game to me, which is exciting, is what looks like it's going to be South and West go East.
Yeah.
Harlingen South, that's a great game, man. Both those teams are good.
Yeah, but both of those teams can run. I mean, I don't know what else you expect, man. It's going to be the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Playoffs, exactly.
What else do you want from? It's week 11, week 1, whatever you want to call
it. It's the last regular season week. Yeah. The number is in question, and we don't even care. Yeah. Hey, who's going to win Mercedes Mission just for fun? It's going to be a good game.
I'm going to go with Mission.
Yeah, Mission seems to be on a roll these days.
I'm going to go with Mission.
Yeah. Mario Pena wills his team to another level. And my last question before we talk a little bit about volleyball, maybe, is: if you're Edinburgh North, how depressed are you after losing to Saraland? It's not a rhetorical question.
I don't know. Actually, I don't think you're that depressed. I mean, a good football team came and beat you, and there's no other way around it.
They didn't get whooped.
No, they didn't get whooped. They only allowed 2 offensive touchdowns.
Mm.
That's very good for a team against Sherryland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think they just move on, and then if they get healthy, I mean,
who knows what the draw will be?
Yeah, and if they get healthy, by district. I mean, I see them doing pretty good.
I miss watching Roy play because Roy Cantu is a hitter, man. I like that guy. I like a guy who will hit, even in the hitting challenge times when they try to give you a penalty for hitting. This guy will hit. Anywho, well, let's say this: the volleyball breaks down to this. We got Vela against McAllen High because both those teams won in by district. How about the Lady Sabercats? Their first playoff win and their first playoff game ever. That's cool.
You get a playoff win for the program, and
it's 4-1 too. Yeah, that's great.
Mac High gets the so-called upsets. Mm-hmm. That's what more can you ask for? I mean, I'm sure they were stunned over in Bronzeville. I mean,
yeah, I know. What?
I mean,
but it's good volleyball. Yeah. I think we got clicked by the camera, but we managed to come back for an outro.
A quick outro. Look, get out and watch the football. This is the last week. If you haven't been to a game, I really don't know what you've been doing.
Yeah, what's the matter with you?
Great. But get out and watch sports. I mean, these kids deserve.
Yeah, patronage. We're going to get 2 teams in the playoffs. Hopefully we'll have a volleyball team or 2 because the HS and North play tonight. Hopefully, we have one that survived, and hopefully we'll get all 3. That would be neat. Let's take it to Laredo, our good friends out there, man.
Yeah, I always like doing that, no matter what team plays them.
Indeed. In fact, we're going to the badminton afterward now. We're hoping that we can beat the team from Zapata. All right. But I'm talking sports. Yeah. If there is a badminton game, then the chances are we'll probably go.
Yeah, I'd watch it.
At least once.
Yeah.
Okay, talking sports, Greg Selber, playoff edition next week.